You are playing the wrong game. Get ready to discover how understanding the mechanism of money can transform your life and help you achieve your financial freedom. So, I mentioned that the real key to making money is not how much you work. You can't just sweat it out and expect to get rich. You need to invest. And the truth is that all wealthy people, whether black, white, Asian, or Chinese, own a bunch of assets. Those who are not rich usually own nothing. If your money is just sitting around, you are losing value every day. Many people are afraid of success. Success requires sacrifices, right? But as long as you can't get out of the mediocre life you're living, it doesn't matter where you are. Once you get comfortable, you end up living at an average level. Everyone can stay in mediocrity, but only a few put in the effort to level up. Knowledge is what really counts. It's not about being strong. It's about learning and putting that knowledge into practice. Every time the government prints more money, it loses value. That's why banks want you to leave your money there, because then they take it and invest it while you earn only a few cents back. So, the idea of owning properties is, let's start owning what we use every day. This is very powerful because if you start owning shares of the companies you consume, it turns a simple purchase into a source of profit over time. For example, if I go to the store and buy a pair of Nike shoes, that's just a purchase. To make more from them, I need to go back and buy another pair. But if I own shares in Nike, while I have those shares, that turns into a way to generate profit. That one purchase can turn into earnings for a long time if I'm the owner of the business. If I'm about to buy something from Apple, knowing that I'm a fan of the brand, I have the phone, the AirPods, the MacBook, and I get excited when they announce new products. Why shouldn't I own shares in them? The point is that rich people stop trading hours of work for money. They make money work for them and seek to provide the maximum value. The trick is that if you deliver a lot of value, people will always want you around, and you'll never go through tough times as long as you keep helping. Normally, rich people start by investing in stocks, then open a business, and finally, look at real estate. The belief that really matters is the one you have in yourself. As he said, I, for example, believe there's nothing I can't achieve. For me, it all comes down to impacting, having purpose, and feeling fulfilled. Money is just a side effect of that. It's not my main focus. My focus is on sharing knowledge and information that changes lives. Not just one person's life, but many. And the best way to do that is by always learning, seeking new ways to spread what I know, and being open and honest because people need to connect. Growing up in the streets, you only see the harshest realities, and when observing others, you feel a mix of admiration and jealousy, thinking you'll never reach that level. So, the only way I sought to get there was by excelling in sports, or even trying to do rap. Those were the only options available, and I had to choose a path. Looking at all that, I thought, wow, I can't rap or play sports, so I'm going to dedicate myself to the hustle. You limit yourself and end up not learning other ways to thrive. The idea that rich people are dishonest rises because, in poor communities, it's taught that those who have money got there in the wrong way, betraying and hurting others. And that creates a mindset that you will never make it. Thus, concepts like hustling and drug dealing lead to the belief that you must break rules to make money. Those who succeed in dealing look at those at the top and think, I want to be like them. But those at the bottom will never have a real chance. We're trapped in ambition, and those in the middle often think all the rich are criminals. This envy of those at the top perpetuates itself. It's somewhat like cooking. I don't know if you've ever made gumbo, but think about how things accumulate at the bottom of the pot. Most people get stuck there, not knowing how to rise to the top. When that happens, no one believes it's possible anymore, and over time, you accept living at the lowest level. But some of us said, I'm not going to stay like this. I'm going after what I want, no matter what. One of the greatest blessings of my life was my mother telling me that the world is cruel and that I needed to go out and live, while also having the influence of my grandmother, who was an admirable entrepreneur. Seeing these two sides, I was able to understand the nuances of life. The most significant twist, however, came when I got arrested. That time gave me the chance to sit and mature, something I wouldn't have achieved otherwise. I'm not saying I wouldn't be who I am today, but the journey would have been very different. In prison, I developed the habit of reading, and that was a game changer for me. On the streets, I never had time for that. I was always struggling to survive. But there, I no longer had to worry about survival. I started exploring books about life in the margins and thought, I've been through that. No matter how many times you tell the story of someone living in the margins, it will always be the same. I've lived that, and honestly, I didn't need to read more about it. I would wake up early to watch CNBC, while many in prison were more interested in WWE and entertainment shows. I needed to get up before them just to catch Squawk Box or Jim Cramer. I thought, these people are making all this money without risking their lives. Something had to change for me. I needed transformation. I started listening to those people every day and comparing everything with what I knew from the streets. A good business is like a good hustler. A good business has quality products and a loyal customer base. Just like a great hustler who keeps a great product and a steady customer base. A solid business in the stock market must have a moat, a competitive advantage that protects it from competitors. Similarly, a good hustler on the streets has to have their own competitive advantage. No, I'm not going with you. I'm going to wait for the trap to come back. Exactly. The competitive advantage is crucial. Just like a good company in the stock market relies on a strong brand, a hustler on the streets also needs to have a respectable name. That means my name carries weight, and a good hustler knows that the trap has that blue magic. It's a value that stands out. I'm on the right path with you. If I can't catch the trap, I'm going to try again. But that's what I'm looking for. The idea is that a great business in the stock market has more assets and liquidity than debt, and this reflects how hustlers should operate. If you don't learn to finance your business and just rely on what you can replenish, you won't last long. These elements remind me that the principles are the same, both in the stock market and on the streets, and it's essential to learn that. If a company has to pay a fee, just like a guy on the street has to pay a draft to operate in a certain territory, the logic is the same. Once I was able to decipher the game in a way that made sense to me, it wasn't about being brilliant. It was about transforming the game into a personal victory. For me, it's a constant challenge. How can I acquire the most knowledge? Because I really love learning. And the point is, how can I take this knowledge and not just replicate it, but teach it to those who may not understand concepts like calculus or trigonometry? If I can present it in a more accessible way, people will be able to understand. There are many people who have faced struggles and managed to stand out. So the struggle must become a language. I write, and that's the language I understand and can share. Exactly. If I can describe everything in a language of struggle, that can make the game victorious for everyone. That's the goal. To create a space where everyone who has the courage to enter the arena and face challenges can thrive. If I managed to do that, it's like having enough courage to jump into a shark tank. That experience is so thrilling that it drives you to always seek the best in yourself. When you start to see life differently, you realize you spent too long living and thinking mediocrely. But once exposed to new ideas and possibilities, There are no more excuses. As I always say, what you haven't been exposed to isn't your fault. But now that you have been, you are responsible. By exposing myself to so much knowledge and then sharing it with you, now you can no longer claim ignorance. It's crucial to understand that you must start where you are. Building a house happens brick by brick. It's true that you may have big visions and want to build everything at once. But building an empire requires patience and effort. Starting, for example, with $25. And we have to keep that in mind. As the great Rip and Nip said, we are in a marathon. We didn't get to our situation overnight. When we look at our circumstances, we often realize that we inherited such situations. Whether it's poverty, the limiting mindset, the idea of scarcity, or the belief that money is always scarce, all of this was inherited. Building wealth then becomes a revolutionary act. You start to challenge what you've been taught. You decide that you won't settle for a scarcity anymore and will fight for an abundance mindset. It's a transformative process that not only changes your life, but can also impact the lives of everyone around you. This is the essence of true growth and evolution. Perfect. Starting with $25 is a powerful step. If you can make $25 a month, that's amazing. If you can make $25 a week, even better. The key is that as you begin to understand how your money works, you start making smarter decisions. You begin to notice that certain things are draining your finances and that you can direct your resources more effectively. Over time, your focus on how to do more with less transforms. Those $25 certainly become $50, and then $100. Just like someone who works hard in the gym and sees the results of losing 10 pounds in 2 weeks. That motivates you to believe you can go even further. This shift in perspective is powerful. Before, everything seemed impossible. Now, you see yourself saying, I am possible or I'm on the right path. That completely changes the dynamic and motivation. And the investing mindset doesn't need to start with a home run. Sometimes, a smaller investment, like a stock from AT&T that costs $26, can be the first step. What matters is that you started. Remember, nobody becomes great without practice. You can't hit 81 if you never enter the gym. So jump into that gym and seek knowledge. Find someone who can guide you on this journey. As Warren Buffett said, he reads 500 pages a day, and that should inspire us to realize that we always have more to learn. Knowledge is fundamental, and dedication to the process is what really counts. Every day is an opportunity to learn and grow. So start where you are, use what you have, and never stop striving to achieve your goals. It's great to see that reading and learning habit developing. If Warren Buffett, the greatest investor, can dedicate time to read 500 pages a day, that truly inspires all of us to seek more knowledge. And what you highlighted about Jeff Bezos paying $1 million to have lunch with Buffett is a clear sign that even the greatest recognize the value of continuous learning. The pursuit of knowledge should be an endless journey. The understanding that owning a share is like owning a percentage of a big business is a fundamental key for those seeking wealth. This idea from Warren Buffett really shifts the perspective on what investing is. When you see stocks as a form of ownership, the concept starts to become clearer and more powerful. This creates a link between personal finance and the real impact that ownership can have. Your analogy about the real gangsters on Wall Street is intriguing and reveals how we are often taught to see the world in a more limited way. Clarifying the reality of what's happening in the markets and how these big names in the industry come into play is essential. Understanding that 70% of what we spend is linked to the stock market truly gives us a new perspective and shows us the importance of being part of this game. And you are right. The brands we consume are not just labels. but opportunities. Thinking in terms of ownership instead of consumption changes the way we interact with the market. When you mentioned waste management, for example, it totally makes sense. What we do every day, like throwing things away, ensures that certain companies will be around for a long time. Instead of just looking at the new iPhone, you can look at Apple shares and think about how that investment can work for you in the long run. The mindset of instead of getting excited about the new store, what can I gain from this, is exactly the wise approach that separates common investors from those who truly thrive. Continuing down this path of learning and reflection is what will propel you further in the financial game. Keep it up and always seek more knowledge and understanding. Your excitement about the market movement and how it makes you pay attention to the world is incredible. The connection between investments and global events and economic cycles is a powerful tool, and you are clearly leveraging that in the best way. Recognizing that Apple relies on revenues from China, and that, therefore, it can be affected by events, there is an intelligent insight. The stock market truly provides a new lens through which you can observe the dynamics of the world. Your experience in prison and the dialogue with that man brings a very deep perspective on life and the choices we make. The concept that you guys are playing the wrong game is revealing. Often, people are trapped in a series of decisions based on the circumstances they were born into or grew up in, without realizing there is a larger framework, a game, being played. The frustration in your mind upon hearing that is part of your learning and growth. Often, real change comes from uncomfortable moments. The idea that many in your circle were losing in the game of life is a hard reality, but it's the driving force that can lead to change. And the question you asked, if it's a game and you know the rules, why are you here with me, is a powerful reflection. That shows that even those who know the rules don't always manage to escape their circumstances. This kind of conversation is precisely what can open eyes to new possibilities. When you understand that there is a system or a game in play, and that the rules influence the opportunities you can seize, it provokes a mental transformation. You can choose to understand, learn, and thus change your approach to achieve success. Always be curious, keep learning and applying that knowledge. Every life experience, like this conversation in prison, shapes your perception and can be a turning point in your journey. And in the end, those who understand the rules of the game have a much better chance of winning it. Your story is impressive and filled with profound lessons. The conversation with that man in prison seems to be a significant turning point for you, especially realizing that he was involved in such a large crime yet maintained a mindset focused on ownership and the economic power. It's fascinating how experiences in prison, though challenging, can provide valuable insights into life and what truly matters. The hierarchy represented by the wristbands and the discrepancy in each person's reality within the system is a powerful analogy. The respect you came to have for him, as you realized he had knowledge and experience you didn't possess, is the kind of dynamic that can change your way of thinking. That shows the importance of learning from others, regardless of the circumstances they find themselves in. Your eagerness to understand how to operate in the game he knew demonstrates an innate desire to progress and have a goal. When you started to focus on the idea of owning everything I consume, that really shifted your mindset. The fact that you thought, instead of being just a consumer, you wanted to be an owner is a significant and substantial step. This transition to an investor mindset is what can truly liberate you and open new opportunities. What happened in 2010? When you came back from prison and found yourself hustling on the streets again, showcases the struggle many people face when trying to reintegrate. It's important to acknowledge that even with knowledge, financial reality can be an obstacle. Your friend being caught in an operation highlights that even in that world, the consequences can be severe and impactful. The fact that a police officer told you, Haven't you learned your lesson? Softens the idea that life lessons are not only learned from the pages of a book, but through experiences, successes, and failures. This journey and reflections on how you come to view the world, consumption, investment, and ownership are powerful. Keep using these lessons to shape your future. The resilience and desire to learn and thrive you are demonstrating are precisely what will lead you to great heights. Your reflection on the situation is profound and reveals much about the struggle between knowledge and its application in reality. You brought to light a crucial truth. Knowledge alone is not enough. It needs to be applied to be truly powerful. It's easy to fall into the traps of the past, even when you have insights that could keep you on the right track. The fact that you were found innocent is a blessing and, at the same time, a reminder of the complexities of the legal system. The expression "fruit of a poisoned tree" illustrates how often the circumstances in which people find themselves can be deeply unjust. If there was no solid basis for the police invasion, it shows how flaws in the system can impact an individual's life. The decision to engage in the game of robbery, especially against drug dealers, is an extreme example of how pressure and lack of options can lead people to make desperate choices. The logic that someone involved in drug dealing is a target, and therefore it's fair to rob them, illustrates the mindset that forms in environments where chances are limited and survival is a priority. It's interesting how you perceived the risks and consequences of your actions, especially when you almost lost your life. The decision to walk away after that near-fatal event is a powerful turning point. It shows a level of self-awareness and desire for change that not everyone can reach in difficult situations. When the police raided your home, the fact that they didn't touch your stock account became a moment of realization. The acknowledgement that you had a smart asset, your investment in stocks, that was unaffected by your daily situation shows a strategic perception of life. This understanding of how the system can underestimate people and the relationship between knowledge and class is a powerful observation. Often, the conditions surrounding poverty or difficult situations lead to distrust in people's potential. The words of the 48 Laws of Power reflect the need to not only learn, but also to be strategic in how you navigate the world. This journey of learning, resilience, and self-awareness will shape your future. Keep applying these lessons and seeking ways to use them to create new opportunities. The strength you show in facing these challenges is the foundation for a better future. Your transformation in how you perceive the game and the approach you've taken is truly inspiring. The way you had that revelation, a voice that led you to understand you were playing the wrong game, is a powerful moment of self-awareness and mindset shift. This transition from just hustling to investing and owning is significant and showcases remarkable growth. The idea that knowledge is the fertilizer of your wealth is an encapsulating phrase. It expresses the importance of education and information as tools to open doors and create opportunities. By teaching your friends about investments and sharing that knowledge, you've not only elevated your situation, but also sought to uplift those around you. This collaborative approach is fundamental in environments where many may feel stuck. Asking yourself how to make this real for your friends is a valuable reflection. Often, change begins with awareness and the ability to see beyond immediate circumstances. By addressing the idea that everyone could face hardships, even spending time in prison, you are developing a collective awareness of the importance of planning, even in tough situations. The thought of what will you leave for your children is a powerful consideration. This is not only about money, but about legacies and how your actions can impact future generations. The way you transformed Wall Street trap from a negative connotation into something positive is a testament to your innovative spirit. This shift in perspective provides a new way of seeing the realities of life on the streets and opens the view to new possibilities. Recognizing that you need to understand the basic and fundamental principles of the system is an essential step. Knowing the mechanisms that operate behind the economy, investments, and personal finance truly empowers people. By learning and teaching, you're not only changing your own life, but also breaking cycles of poverty and lack of opportunity. It's incredible to see how your journey evolves from hustler to someone who seeks not only to improve your own life, but also to inspire others to do the same. This is the essence of a true leader and educator. Keep deepening your knowledge and sharing it with those around you. The change you can generate in the lives of others is immeasurable. You bring to light a fundamental question about the relationship most people have with money and how institutions like banks often do not act in our best interest. The way the financial system is structured tends to favor those already at the top while distracting the majority from the possibility of accumulating their own wealth. This reality is a reflection of the lack of financial knowledge and misinformation that permeates many communities. By understanding the difference between what banks offer and the opportunities available through investments like index funds, you begin to see the bigger picture. Banks benefit from your lack of knowledge by keeping your money stagnant and yielding a miserable 0.05%, while they can use those funds to generate much larger profits. The metaphor of the plug fits well. You realize that instead of trusting banks, the real solution lies within you and what you can learn about the financial market. The relationship many have with money, which revolves around just paying bills and seeking small pleasures, is a cycle that traps people in a lifestyle that does not promote growth. The idea that any small indulgence can serve as a break from the daily struggle illustrates how these habits can transform into financial traps. It's easy to fall into this thought pattern, where immediate satisfaction becomes the solution to financial stress, but that often results in more debt and long-term stress. The awareness that financial education can change that cycle is essential. You realize that if the people around you are unaware of the possibility of changing their situation, it's a call to action for you. Access to different information about investments, economics, and personal finance is what separates those who are thriving from those who continue to struggle. Your understanding that change begins with information and financial education is a crucial step towards breaking the cycle of poverty. By sharing this knowledge with your community, you are not only expanding the perspectives of those around you, but also breaking barriers that often separate people from their aspiration. The shift in mindset that you build is contagious. By starting to educate others about the realities of money and how it works, you offer a transformative opportunity that can impact lives. This focus on understanding the fundamentals and sharing that knowledge brings enormous potential for change. If more people start to see the game differently and educate themselves about finances, there could be a significant shift in how communities interact with money and opportunities. Continue on this learning and teaching journey. Every step counts in building a more prosperous future for you and those around you. Ready to change your mindset and take control of your money? Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, join our community in pursuit of financial freedom. Share your thoughts in the comments below.